I finally got to see a movie I've been dying to see now, and that is Everything Everywhere All at Once. So let's talk about it. Everything Everywhere All at Once is about Evelyn, who's a laundromat owner, and she's married to Waymond, and she's just going through a lot with an audit on her laundromat that's not doing so well, and her marriage that's not doing so well as Waymond's filing for divorce. But all of a sudden, one day, Waymond gets taken over by a different Waymond from a different universe, telling Evelyn that, hey, our multiverse is in big trouble, and you are the key to save the every universe that's out there. And so she kind of gets sucked into this weird world that she has never known about, and she's got to try to save it. And if it sounds confusing, it kind of is, but at the same time it's kind of not. It's really weird. Like, this movie, the title is literally what it is. Like, when you're watching it, after the first 20 minutes, I would say, really everything is happening everywhere all at once. Like, it's really kind of a bonkers movie. It's very wild. It feels very all over the place, but it feels organized. And it sounds weird, very contradicting, which I also feel like this movie is kind of, because this movie has so much going on, like I said, but at the end it becomes very on the nose, which, if you know me, you know I don't like when movies are very on the nose. But even though I don't love it here, I feel like it wasn't as bad as normal, and I think it's because of the fact that once you, again, after the first 20 minutes of this movie, it really requires the audience to pay attention. It wants your eyes on the screen, seeing everything that's going on. And so you're sitting here taking everything, seeing what's happening, then you have to comprehend what's going on, take in all that information. So it's so much, and then when you get towards the end, and that's the part it gets really on the nose, and it's telling you what the movie is about. Like, it's grabbing you and shaking you, like, this is what I'm saying. It's almost like, since that, the rest of the movie is, it's like a hard pill to kind of swallow, it becomes very easy to be congested once it's telling you exactly what's happening. So I think that's why for me, it doesn't matter as much. And I'm not trying to scare anyone into saying, like, there's so much going on that, like, you're gonna be confused. I would say generally this movie is loved by a lot of people. Now, Scream is probably still my favorite movie that's come out this year so far, but I think, generally speaking, I think this would probably be number one on most people's lists for the year so far. And I think it's undoubtedly gonna go into the top 10 Best Picture nominations for the end of the year. I think it's really going to carry out. I don't think anyone's going to forget about this movie. And also, we got performances from, like, Michelle Yeoh as Evelyn, and she's just amazing. Like, just everything she's in, she's great. Then we have Ki Hyo Kwan, I think his name, which for me, he almost hits that level that Michelle Yeoh does. Ki Hyo Kwan, I'm probably saying it horribly wrong, but he plays Waymond, and his character is very interesting, and he plays it really well, because he has to, without like any edits, he's literally going from this very unknowing, innocent kind husband to Evelyn, and then he all of a sudden flips into this person from another universe who can fight and is very agile and kind of aggressive, but not in like a bad way, but more so of just like he's in a rush to get her to understand what's going on and for her to kind of collect herself and figure out how she can help him save the multiverse. He does it on a dime, and he'll go from, again, just kind of the regular husband Waymond of this universe into that other Waymond, or he'll go from that other Waymond to the one of this universe in a split second without an edit. So it's like, you have to have some pretty good acting chops for that, and he does really well. Then you have Stephanie Sue, which, tell me if I'm crazy, but I think she's in like an AT&T ad where she's like with a foam finger. Let me know if that's her, but I mean, that's what I recognize her from. She's in a bunch of other stuff I saw. I don't know, maybe that's not her, but I think it is. Anyway, she does a good job, and then there's other supporting casts that do well, like Jamie Lee Curtis plays the auditor, and she plays like the stereotypical, I guess, or what someone would imagine in their mind as some bored, mean auditor just trying to shut people down. but you get her in her form in different like universes, and every time it's just her character is very comedic. Like a lot of it is just funny to watch just because of how she's performing. I don't know how to really explain it. Then we have James Hong as Gong Gong, who's the father of Evelyn, and he does a really good job as well as kind of this as her father who has to be looked after, and then he turns into this like from the multiverse he's somebody else. And yeah, when I say multiverse, I don't mean Marvel. Like this is not a Marvel movie, this is A24, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Feige called up some people over at A24 and was like, hey, can we get them in like an Ant-Man 3? Like I think, can I get Michelle Yeoh as Evelyn in Ant-Man 3? I think that would work out. At this point, I think every movie is just going to be like, there's going to be something around it, some news about like potentially could this be in the MCU? Like maybe. Another thing I have to really give credit for this is the editor. Like I can only imagine he got this thrown on his table and it was just like throwing up sheet music for Mozart in front of like a beginner during his first class learning piano. I can't even imagine how stressful this must have been. He probably lost about 26 years of his life doing this, but it was great. He did very good. And it would be hard for me to imagine that it doesn't get nominated for best editing. Now we'll see. You know, we still have, what is it, April? We have 8 months left in the year, so there's still a lot of films to be coming out. I don't think we really have to worry about much coming out in the summer, but come around Oscar time, you know, September, October, into the end of the year, we'll see, you know, what else comes out, what other gems we can get. But as of now, I think this is the kind of like the star gem. This is the trophy that trophy film of the year thus far. Again, for me, you know, I did say Scream was my favorite, but that's just because, again, I'm just biased, horror bias, and I love Scream's my favorite horror franchise of all time, so it makes sense. But I think this was really, really well done. I do think it did run a little long. There's a part at the end of this movie where it feels like it's 5 minutes turned into 30. It feels like slow motion, like, and I don't mean the scenes are all shot in slow motion. There is some, but there's pretty much what I'm talking about. There's a scene at the end where there's like literally this incredibly short distance between person A who's trying to get to person B. Like, and I'm not metaphorically speaking distance here. I mean, like they're like 20 steps away, and it takes like 25 minutes. This whole sequence. It's a 22-hour and 20-minute movie. I feel like it could have benefited from being 2 hours, maybe 2 hours, 5 minutes. Ultimately, I mean, there's some really great stuff about this movie, some really cool little moments, funny moments. Again, I think the highlights are Michelle Yeoh. I think she did great. Ki Hyo Kwan did amazing as well. And the editing, the story itself, even though like I said, it's a lot to take in, I think it's well done enough where a general audience could still understand it. It's not something so crazy out there. There's symbolism around a bagel here. Like I think it's more so about a circle, essentially, like about kind of a cycle, but they like turn it into a bagel as like the symbolism. And so it's wacky, man. It's a nuts movie. So just be prepared when you go in to watch it. I do recommend it for everything that I mentioned, you know, before. And yeah, so that's my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts on it? If you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Come back and let me know. If you like this review, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification button so you know anytime I come out with any other reviews, and go ahead and hit the like. When you do comment, it does help. But aside from that, I hope you guys all have a great day.